So I had a gorilla cart that I used to pull around on the back of the lawnmower, and I used to bring bags of feed and things like that on it. And one day I busted the handle on it when I was driving it, and I just kind of left it there. And it's been sitting back in our woods, not doing anything for months now. And the other day I was thinking, and I was like, I wonder if I could build a nesting box cart out of that. And so that is what started the whole idea.
Our farm is unique in the setup in that we run all of our animals through fairly thick woods since we are just starting our journey as a regenerative farm. As the animals move through the forest, they help us to expose the soil and help us with our initial clearing of the land. But you can see how dense it is. Because of the density of the forest, it's really hard for us to get large coops moved in and out. Not only the space issue and trying to get into the trees playing a part in what we do, but if we want to use a shelter for meat chickens or for egg layers, or we want to switch it out, whatever we want to do, we want to make sure that the shelters that we choose are easy to use for any of the breeds that we raise. And so because of that, we decided to make all of our egg mobiles completely separate from the coop. And we have an egg mobile here that we use, but we really need more nesting boxes for the chickens. And so after thinking about this for a while and thinking about that cart that was sitting out in the woods, I decided to go ahead and see if we could build a new cart. The first step was just building a foundation onto the gorilla cart that we had. James wanted to make sure that the foundation was really nice and level, and also that the screws, when you connected the plywood to the actual frame, did not stick out from the top at all, because that's where our base was going to be.
I don't want the head sticking out of the board because we're going to have some boards laying on top of here, so I'm going to make a bigger hole on the side so we can let this bolt hole go down, or the head go down in there. See what I'm talking about?
That way, when you go ahead and put the next pieces of wood on top of that, you don't have to battle the screw heads sticking out. From there, we went on to fasten the frame to the foundation. We used 1x2s, but you could use 2x2s if you wanted to, or you could even use 2x4s, but it would make the cart really heavy. Honestly, the 1x2s were fine. Once you got everything connected, it felt really sturdy. James is a big time perfectionist, and so even though we were building something for chickens, he still wanted to make sure that it was perfectly straight and level. And he and I worked together and used a chalk line to map out our cuts for the side walls and for the interior divider wall as well. After we got everything marked off, we went ahead and cut our pieces down. So we cut the two side walls, and then we cut the divider wall. And then James went back and he stacked the wood on top of each other and cut the two sides down with an angle so that you had a pitch for the roof. You get that pitch measurement by just measuring the right side of your side walls of your frame and then measuring the left walls and marking that on your plywood in the difference, and you can see him cutting the angle right here. We tested our fit, got those fastened to the side frames, and then measured for the center divider wall, which would be the back of each of the nesting boxes. In order to fasten your divider wall in the middle, you have to put some 1x2s right there in the center where James is measuring. This is going to allow your divider wall to have something to attach onto, just like you see there. After we got our divider wall up, we went ahead and put in some more 1x2s for our shelf to sit on. We fastened those to each side of the side support walls and on the back, and then took the shelf and set it on that. From there, we'll go ahead and put our dividers and then the roofing on top. We added 1x4s to the front, and we added 2 of them on each section, so the bottom and then that top shelf. And that's what keeps the hay in and helps us also fasten the center dividers on and give them extra support. For the dividers, James just went ahead and set them into place. He cut out some notches for them to sit into the 1x2s, and then just took screws and put a screw on each side of the board at the top and the bottom, and that way it doesn't wiggle and come out of place. There's a couple ways you can do it. You could use wood glue, you could fasten other boards and then fasten your dividers up to those boards, but this was an easy way to achieve the same thing without any extra material. And here you can see how he just notches out for a secure fit. It'll help it be even more secure if you get a really snug fit. So make sure your measurements are right on, notch it out, and then go ahead and use a hammer to tap it into place and then set your screws to make sure that it's secure. Once the dividers were in place, we went ahead and took the cart off of the sawhorses so we could work on the roof. We also went ahead and started putting hay into the individual nesting boxes. James used some scrap metal that we had laying around, and with the framing we had already had enough of a structure on top to just go ahead and fasten our metal roof right onto the built cart. And since it is scrap metal that had already been cut, the edges were really jagged. So I went ahead and got some insulation for piping and added that and glued it right onto the edges so nobody would hurt themselves when they were out gathering eggs.
We've had the egg mobile that we built out in the woods for about a week now, and the chickens seem to really enjoy laying their eggs in it. As we continue to grow our flock, I think that we'll build more of these, and this is a really good prototype for us to go from in the future.
We hope this video was helpful for you, and if you liked it, be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.